Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends come together to BS, agree, disagree, talk about discographies, do a whole bunch of silly shit while we're drinking. Um, this week we're talking about an artist. That artist is Alice in Chains. We talk about a different artist every week, so if you don't like Alice in Chains, come back next week or travel back to last week. You might find something you like. Joining me today is our good friend Bill,
I like frogs.
and as always, the captain of this boat, that is Jason,
I'll sink this
and my name's
motherfucker.
Tim. And today we're talking about Alice in Chains' self-titled album, 1995's Tripod.
That was wonderful,
Thanks.
wonderful.
All from memory. No script. No cue
script.
card.
We are completely unscripted here. We do not know each other's picks. We just kind of go off the fly
And we definitely don't know what each other think.
at all.
I don't even think at all, so it's
That's-
good.
Yeah. I'll start this one off because this was my Alice in Chains
This is Jason's pick. We need to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This was my pick. I hold the slap button each week. We rotate out artists, which is why we have such a wide variety of picks. We don't chase no YouTube algorithms. Who the fuck gives a shit about COC or the Descendants? We do. So, or Nickelback. Stay tuned for that one. Yeah, we're talking
And go
Alice in
back and watch her
Chains.
Def Leppard one, because
Yes.
who else is going to watch that in 2024?
Yeah, who else covered Def Leppard's songs from the Sparkle Lounge but us? So go check that out, you young punks these days. Get off my lawn. Alice in Chains, self-titled. This was my. If you would have asked me a year ago what my favorite Alice in Chains record was, this would be the first one that comes to mind. I had the purple CD of this bitch. Grind. This is the one that I think is the best opening track.
And it's a strong contender.
Like,
I could see that argument. Same for the closer, too.
yeah, that open in the darkest hole, you'd be well advised not to plan my funeral, for the body dies. Ooh, I love the drum pattern on the verses. It pulses. I didn't know the lyrics were penned by Contrail until I was looking this up on the Wikipedia page,
Yeah.
but I thought that was some Layne lyrics, but man,
Yep.
that's some good shit. Brush Away is fucking great. Sludge Factory wasn't never my favorite. It's weird. It's not bad, and it's better than late 90s, 2000s wave of Alice and Pearl Garden ripoffs that followed, but I think the Unplugged version is much fucking better. Heaven Beside You, again, another classic. The tempo changes, the lyrics. Who doesn't like this fucking song? Tell me down below if you love Heaven Beside You. We'll say that. The bass and drums on Head Creeps really stands out. I don't like the mix on the vocals, though. A lot of this album, the vocal Layne sounds buried and lost in a lot of it. Again, not my favorite single, but it dragged out Hey and No, and the bridges and the verses to the chorus is perfection, like the link between the two. It sounds pretty clean, but I bet it was a fucking rocker live. Shaming You, almost like a chant in parts, like a sad, blunt chant. God Am, I fucking love this song. Top song contender. This God of Mine Relaxes, World Dies, I Still Pay Taxes. The choppy verses, the soaring chorus, and how proud are you being able to gather faith from fable. Some fucking Layne Staley lyrics right there. So Close, another top song contender. Some melodic shit here, at least on the verses. The chorus is classic Alice in Chains. Again, Sean is fucking killing it. Nothing Song is fine. Frogs could have been on Jar of Flies. It's long, it'd be in 8 minutes, but the lyrics feel like a stream of conscious, not unlike Nirvana's Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol. It's a little bit more thought out than Nirvana, but still, it's fucking good.
But yeah, no, I've never actually noticed that connection. Like, they are pretty similar. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah. Over Now, it's probably the hardest, like, post 2002 Alice in Chains song to listen to. Especially the musical section around the "We Pay Our Debt Sometime." It just
And its placement in this discography. That is it. This is the last one.
It sounds so final. Like,
yeah.
This is the hardest one for me to rank, but we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I could follow that up. And as we alluded to in Dirt, I did not think that Wood was the best closer. I think that Over Now is their best album closer that they have. Though honestly, I'll say that
flip a coin. Flip a coin. Yeah.
These first 3 albums have actually had pretty fucking good closers. I felt Grind as an opener was good. Wasn't as good as Them Bones, but it was still a good opener.
Better than We Die Young?
Yes. Well,
maybe.
Yes, it is. Fuck yes, it is, dude.
It is. It is.
I know.
If you disagree, that's okay. But it
would depend on the day. I'll say that. I'll leave it at that. I know I'm going to get slapped probably 20 times this week. It's okay. I acknowledge that coming in.
Hey, on your discography, I had to slap myself the most on Cinderella. So, you got one slap. Tim got slapped once. I got slapped like 3 or 4 times.
Sludge Factory, I actually really like that song. As did I like Heaven Beside You. That was amazing. I feel like that song could have been on Dirt. Would have fit right in with it. Absolutely loved it. Head Creeps, I like it. I don't like it. Like, I think that's one that'll grow on me the more I listen to it.
That's your sick man on this album?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I liked it. Shame in You. Oh, damn, it's pretty fucking good. Really like what they do with the instrumentals on it. Goddamn, top song contender. It brings me back to Rooster.
Fuck.
And it's what I want when I'm listening to an Alice in Chains record. So Close. It's good. Not great, but it's good. Nothing Song is a nice, smooth beat. And I like the slide guitar on it they include. I thought that was a cool addition on that song. Frogs. God damn, they're animal songs.
Wait till we get to the Beatles.
Feel like I'm on Old MacDonald's farm here.
Old McCantrell's farm.
Frogs, it was damn good song. Definitely would fit on Fireflies or Jar of Flies. You're right.
Yeah.
And then as I said, Over Now, that in my mind's the best closer they have of this discography. But up till this point, I'll say all of the closers again have been very, very good. And all of the openers really have also been good. Like, we haven't had a dud yet.
That's true. It's so hard to fucking listen to now, though.
See, and that's advantage I might have, though, because I don't have that personable connection with it, or like the knowledge of everything else that you guys have. I just listed it's a fucking amazing closer.
And it is. It really is. Yeah. It's just hard to listen to. Which could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put it up there with like Pretty Noose or something. That's like, oh, this took on a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know, I love Grind and I love Over Now. They're both top song contenders. But when I come down to it, you're going up against them, Bones and Wood.
I know, it's...
So I got to give those the opening closing. However, I'm going to give the in between to this one. Holy Christ, Brush Away, fantastic. Sludge Factory, I remember when this album came out, like, it was cool, but then I heard the unplugged version.
Oh my God, that... Yeah, the unplugged
And then
version.
you go back and it's like, no, this song is everything you want and more. And yeah, we'll talk about Unplugged here in a second. But yeah, Sludge Factory is a great song. Heaven Beside You, yeah, who doesn't like it?
Leave a comment down below.
Head Creeps is great. I think Again is, I know it was a single, it's a top song contender. It's just so fun and groovy and good. And then if there's a low point to this album, it's somewhere between Shaming You and So Close. But I don't think it's a low point. Like, Goddamn's great, So Close is great, Shaming You's great, Nothing Song's great. And then much like the last album, with the 1-2 punch of Angry Chair and Wood, you get Frogs and Over Now. Do both of those make appearances on Unplugged that make these songs even better than they are here? Absolutely. But they're amazing songs. Yeah, Bittersweet. This is actually the only album official with this lineup of Staley and Inez, which I think many people would consider this like the lineup, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't like, it wasn't possible to get darker than Dirt, but then they put out Tripod and they got darker than Dirt. Like, I think this one's aged a lot better than Dirt over the years as well. Like, I think they're both great, right? But I think where, like, Dirt kind of came out of the gate swinging and never let up, this one had a slow release. Like, you know, people weren't quite sure what to make of it when it came out. But over the years, the more I listen to it, the more I'm just like, man, this album's really good. Like, top to bottom.
That's interesting because this was the one that I remember having, like, I went out and bought it and it was like a purple CD case.
Sure, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Dog. And it started out so strong and I just kind of lost interest. And, like, but as the years went on, it grew on me. I was like, man, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, this is definitely a grower.
Yeah, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, this would have been the first one I went to, but I'm not sure that's the same anymore.
Interesting. Okay.
I guess we'll briefly talk about Unplugged.
Well, as briefly as we can.
Look at that fucking track list, dude.
I know, it's like kind of perfect, right?
So we just
Kinda
take our top
perfect.
songs from this, right? Like,
You can if you need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you need to, yeah. I mean,
So I got a fun fact and I got a not so fun fact about this. But before I say either of them, I'll go on record and say this is my favorite MTV Unplugged album.
ooh, that's... Oh, okay.
I know that Nirvana one is really good. And that Eric Clapton one's got that version of Layla that just hits you.
It'd be my fourth.
fourth. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
fourth. I'd have to put Nirvana, and I fucking love the Pearl Jam Unplugged. I think it has a lot of energy. I think they did it too soon. I think the track list is better on this one than Pearl Jam's.
Sure.
But the energy on some of those songs and the whole Unplugged, which was never actually released.
That one's pretty good too. Yeah, that one is pretty good.
But
no, I gotta go with this one though. It's their first show in like 5 or 6 years, and it ends up being their last show with Layne.
Really?
This is like a real moment of time.
I didn't realize it was their last one.
Yeah. And they hadn't been playing shows up until this. This was just like totally out of the blue. If you watch the video, you could see Layne's really struggling and sick. He is the sick man at that show.
He still kills it, though.
Nails it.
Yeah, he fucking kills it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, every song from Tripod that's on here, this will like just completely open that album up for you. The classics from Jar of Flies, you got Me Wrong and Brother from Sap. And then they throw in Wood too, like the acoustic version of Wood.
Show that Captain Planet.
Yeah, it's clean. It is clean. And then another fun fact, of course, Mike Inez famously had on his bass, "Friends don't let friends get friends haircuts." And that's because their friends, the guys in Metallica, had just cut all their hair off, and nobody knew it yet because it wasn't 1996 and Load hadn't come out. But that was like their first public appearance, and they were like, "Why don't you guys get friends haircuts?" Which is, of course, the Jennifer Aniston, Matt Perry classic TV show.
Which is fucking great, by the way. I love Friends.
But friends don't let friends get friends haircuts.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. And it's kind of a tough listen to when you realize just how far gone Layne was at this point. And
I didn't know all that.
Yeah, not only is this his last show with Alice in Chains, but like even with Mad Season and just popping in with people, like he only does like 2 or 3 in the rest of his life.
I mean, he fucking kills it on this record, though. Like,
yeah,
Down in a Hole, like it takes on a whole different meaning when you hear the unplugged version. It's so fucking good. Wood, Frogs, it's
Over Now.
Yeah,
Sludge Factory.
I missed those.
The version on here of No Excuses.
Yep.
So good. Brother, I mean, it's a perfect set list.
Nutshell.
By a band that's very fractured, but still has the goods.
Yeah. Did you listen to this one, Bill?
Yeah, I did, and I mean, like, listen, whenever any band does, anything like this, where you go to like an unplugged type album, like, so it is a completely different sound that you get with a lot of the songs. So if I say actually a lot. I think the 3 unplugged songs that probably spoke the most to me were probably Nutshell, Down in a Hole, and I'll say you guys mentioned Heaven Beside You on this one. Like, all 3 of those I felt like were absolutely amazing. I mean, the other ones were also very good, but I felt like those were the 3 most pronounced.
Sure.
For me, at least.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're all fucking top tier.
I mean, there's
your 7 are from Jar of Flies. My 7 will be from Unplugged. Not really, but I could.
Good.
I miss those MTV Unplugged. I mean, they really did show bands at their rawest, you know.
And you could really judge if like a band could cut it or not. Because I remember a few were like, "Oh no, this band is struggling."
I remember watching the Aerosmith Unplugged and just being completely disappointed with it. Like, besides the fact that they played my favorite Aerosmith song of all time, which was great, but besides that, it was like, this sucks. And then you had Nirvana, you had Pearl Jam, you had Hole, you had Alice in Chains, you had
Eric Clapton.
Fuck Eric Clapton. We'll be talking about him, or we did talk about him already in 1992, baby. All right.
Biggest selling album of the decade, live album of the decade,
which is
or of all time, right? Biggest selling live album of all time.
That's fucked up, man. Alice in Chains Unplugged's much better than that shit.
It's all, yeah. Unplugged is great.
All right, so back to the self-titled. Whose turn is it to rank? Who wants to rank this one? Because it ain't me, because I did dirt, because I'm a cheap motherfucker.
I mean, I'll do this one. I know this is the difficult one, but I think both of you are going to have it at number 2 between Facelift and Dirt.
Oh.
Is that correct?
I don't know. I need to find my main page here.
Well,
I know it's
I'll
tough call.
say this.
Tough
If
call.
you had asked me last week, yes, that would be correct.
But then you heard it, and it went to number 1, right?
But I listened fucking Tripod and again, and yeah, it's gonna be number 1 for me.
All right, well, I'm the opposite.
You're going number 3?
This was the hardest one for me to rank. If you would have asked me in the last 30 years or so what my favorite Alice in Chains album was, it would have been Tripod. But going through all these back-to-back, I'm not sure anymore. It's a beautiful, interesting record musically. Some would say sloppy and experimental. A lot of times it just feels like a band jamming and recording what comes out. But that's what makes it beautiful and interesting. And I just talk so much good shit about it. But it's going to be my number 2. So you did get me right on that one.
Okay. Well, let's hope I get this last one right.
It's always been my number 1, but Dirt is so tight. It's a lot tighter.
Well, I'm going to agree with Bill. It's going to be my number 1 as well.
All right. I mean, we're splitting hairs here because they're all... The color code will tell all.
Color code will tell all. And even that's been difficult. Do I go one direction or do I go another direction?
Ooh, that's interesting. Stick around for that. Like, subscribe. We're about to dive into the Duvall albums.
Mm-hmm.
Major change coming here in the Alice in Chains lineup. So,
but yeah, these 3 albums like literally shaped rock radio for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
That's how important they are.
You like Godsmack? Go check out Alice in Chains.
And their song, Godsmack.
You like
where
Nickelback?
He's doing his best System of a Down vocal thing before System of a Down even exists.
Yeah. Go check that shit out. All right. Yeah. Tim, you want to lead us out with since you started this episode, go ahead and lead us out with the closing words.
That's been our ranking for the Alice in Chains self-titled 1995 album, Alice in Chains, also known as Tripod. We'd like to thank you for joining us on Old Drunken Discography. Make sure to click the button down below, like, subscribe, leave a comment telling us how we're all wrong, and facelift should be number one. And as always, be safe, and Jason?
Make decent decisions.
Or don't. Say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going gambling.